Welcome, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm a global account executive here with Modern Requirements and Copilot4DevOps. And we're joined here today by my amazing colleague, Aisha. Aisha is part of our learning and engagement specialist team with Modern Requirements. So she's boots on the ground. She understands some of the pain points and what you folks are going through. So we're really excited that over the next hour, we'll be uncovering how AI built directly into Azure DevOps is reshaping the way teams manage requirements, streamline workflows, automate repetitive tasks, and ensuring full traceability and compliance without changing the way you work, and ultimately leading to better results as well. One thing to mention as well, guys, the chat box, like we just described earlier, feel free to drop questions throughout. We will leave some time at the end. However, we're happy to answer questions kind of along the way to ensure that we get to everyone's asks. As mentioned, guys, my name's Daniel, right? And I work with folks like yourself every single day alongside Aisha. We understand the pain, we understand how we can help, and we're really excited about what we have to show today. Now, as like we mentioned, as you're going through today, if there's something that's really, exciting to you or really something you're really curious about, right? Please don't be afraid to drop any questions in the chat. There will be a recording sent out as well. So before we jump in, I'd love to quickly introduce Aisha, and we can jump right into it. Aisha.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here with you, Daniel, and good to be here with everyone on the call. My name is Aisha, and I'm a learning and engagement specialist, which means I am very passionate about supporting people like you in adopting tools that can energize your work, that can speed up your work, your processes, and also make it fun, because work can be fun if we allow it to be. It's great to see a lot of people on the call here, some PMs, some BAs, business systems analysts, some POs, and everyone in between. Welcome to the call.
Awesome. Thank you, Aisha. And I love what you said right there. How can we make work fun, right? How can we take some of that, grunt work, those repetitive tasks, turn that into actionable insights and make work fun again? I love how you said that. Aisha and we work with folks like yourself every single day, and we come across a wide range of industries, companies, verticals, and it's very apparent where the gaps are. Compliance pressures are only growing. With a catalog of over 25,000 ISO standards alone, organizations are under constant pressure to meet these regulatory demands while still delivering faster results year in and year out. I know a lot of you are smiling and laughing because that's what you're faced today, but too often teams are still relying on those manual processes that are slow, inefficient, and let's face it, prone to error. Now, human intervention definitely creates some bottlenecks, and when documentation is piling up, errors slipping through, how do we solve for this? AI is definitely one of those tools that can help alleviate a lot of this. Now, let's not even take into consideration the disconnection between tools, right? Azure DevOps, ChatGPT, Copilot365, they're scattered, right? Records all over the place, leaving workflows fragmented with little traceability or audibility. And while AI is becoming more common, most of it still, like I mentioned, exists in isolation today, not tailored to requirements workflows. Now, teams end up stitching together manual efforts with ad hoc AI tools that don't necessarily align to a process, a compliance, or even collaboration needs as well. The bottom line is clear, guys. Traditional approaches can just simply not keep up with the complexity and the speed that organizations are facing today. Let me know if this resonates with you, right? Drop your feedback in the chat. We want to hear from you guys. This is what we see day in and day out. And guys, let's face it, we'd love to kind of understand where you guys are at. So we're going to run a little bit of a poll here in a moment. So it should be popping up on your screen shortly. And the question is, how much are you using AI today, or how familiar are you with using AI in your requirements management process? Are you A, actively using AI tools today, B, exploring AI, B, B, exploring AI but haven't yet adopted, C, interested but unsure where to start, or D, hey, I'm completely new and I'm just here to learn today? It seems like B is definitely the #1 option here, with C and A coming in close second. Looks like C, interested but unsure where to start. And then in third, actively using AI tools today. And then there are still a good amount of folks that are, hey, I'm just completely new to AI in requirements. Awesome. Guys, thank you for leaving your feedback and letting us know where you're at today. And listen, we're here to support all aspects of your journey with AI in requirements management. So I think we're sharing the results right now, just so everyone can kind of get a quick peek. Give it another second here. And let's move right along. Now, guys, Copilot for DevOps, we feel, is the solution. This powerful AI-driven extension for Azure DevOps is specifically created not only for folks like yourself, but for requirements management as well. Copilot for DevOps injects a robust feature set into Azure DevOps, which empowers users with features like AI-assisted authoring, aligned with those ISO compliance standards, automated refinement for audit-ready requirements, template-driven consistency, and so on and so forth. Copilot for DevOps is the #1 AI assistant native to Azure DevOps. Now, this is backed by Azure's OpenAI security policy. Users can be confident that their data is kept secure and everything will be stored on your Azure DevOps environment. Early adopters are reporting improvements in efficiencies within their projects, with faster authoring, fewer review cycles, and significant reduction in overall project costs. This is because Copilot for DevOps is simply packed with capabilities that address some of the most inefficiencies in your projects. Copilot for DevOps features include features that can aid in requirements elicitation, automated gap analysis, and the creation of AI-driven visualizations, like your process flows, diagrams, and even mockups. Ultimately, features like this, guys, help eliminate the grunt work, right? So users can focus their time and their efforts on compliance and other project critical tasks, turning you into more of a decision maker. Now, we're excited to showcase the capabilities of Copilot for DevOps and how you can leverage your regulatory compliance requirements efficiently by leveraging AI. Now, we've been in this business, and how we came about this is, we've been an Azure DevOps plugin for about 15 to 20 years. And Modern Requirements, we have a long-standing relationship with Microsoft. We are Microsoft's go-to requirements management partner, and the only requirements management solution that is natively built for Azure DevOps. Now, this amazing relationship with Microsoft opened up the doors for immense opportunity to bring that AI experience to Azure DevOps through Copilot for DevOps. Today, Microsoft regards Modern Requirements as a key AI transformational partner, and they've been recognizing us at some key AI conferences in the past couple of years. Nicole Dezen, the Chief Partner Officer and VP of Global Partner Solutions, as well as Kevin Scott, the CTO of Microsoft as well, are recognizing us as formerly Microsoft Gold Partners, and now we are considered Microsoft AI Cloud Solution Partners. Now, we're really excited about what we have to show today. Let's dive into it. Let's show some of the power that AI can bring to your workflows. I'm going to hand it over to Aisha to jump in. But as we go throughout this session, guys, feel free to drop questions in the chat.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much for that great intro, Daniel. Those of you who are on this call, you might be able to relate to this scenario. You have just had a stakeholder interview. You have pages of notes, they're unstructured, and then you have to spend hours turning those notes into requirements. Not to mention acceptance criteria, making sure that everything is traceable. Could I just get a thumbs up from everyone who may relate to the scenario? Quick thumbs up. Yeah, I'm seeing some thumbs up here. A lot of thumbs up. Wow.
I think this means it's important, Aisha.
It's important. Yeah, wow. It's raining thumbs here. So this is a very common challenge faced by BAs, BSAs, system analysts, POs, by many different members of the team, Scrum Masters. And we have a solution for this. So as Daniel mentioned, we are built natively into Azure DevOps. For those of you who are not familiar with Azure DevOps, it's basically a hub where you can track your requirements, your tasks, your test cases. And because we're natively integrated into Azure DevOps, you get enterprise-grade security. So you don't need to know every detail of Azure DevOps. We're gonna make it as simple as possible for you to follow along. Let's say we have a customer onboarding experience. This is what we want to work on. This is the project. We have some unstructured notes. Maybe we have a stakeholder interview transcript, which has some very unstructured notes. Maybe we have an Excel file that includes some very basic requirements, but nothing is really structured well at this point. So what we want to do is take this unstructured information and begin to create those features, stories, test cases, etc. So we'll simply open up our handy tool, Copilot4DevOps. And within Copilot4DevOps, you're going to see a number of different tools are available. All of these tools are designed to support you with efficiency, quality, and accuracy. We're going to dive into the elicit function first. And we have our given input here, very basic epic customer onboarding experience. You could call this epic a systems requirement. It could be any type of requirement. And we're going to go ahead and set up elicitation, meaning we're going to upload some context that can be used to create these requirements or these work items. I'll go ahead and select some files here from my desktop. We have some of those notes that came from a meeting with the stakeholders, as well as that Excel that we mentioned. Now you can save and upload up to 20 different files in one batch. The system can take Excel, it can take Word files, PDF, XML files, text files, image files as well. And you can apply these files to drill down work items. Now, I know a lot of you on this call understand the value of traceability. So we've integrated this into our system where you can go ahead, generate out your features for your work items, then drill down into those features, create your user stories, your functional requirements, your PBIs, etc. All of these different things all in one place. So here you can see we have a list of possible features that will enable us to move this customer onboarding experience project forward. You can select one or all of the provided options, and you can also click See More, and the system will continue to generate more options for you. And so Daniel, this is where I'm going to say something that we tell everyone in our teams, right? We call it Copilot4DevOps for a reason. It's because it is a Copilot, it supports you, and you're in the driver's seat. You still get to choose which items you're going to pull in. You get to choose what edits you're going to make to those items.
Aisha, I couldn't agree more. And listen, guys, we're not in the business of getting rid of folks like you. We're in the business of empowering folks like you and giving you the tools that you need to be able to do your job efficiently. Copilot for DevOps, right? I think we all understand that AI is not perfect, and we're not quite there yet. Where's the value in this? The value is the getting started faster part, right? The ability to create these work items in a structured, standardized way. This will get you that 80, 90% of the way there. You, with your knowledge of your business and what's required, can apply those last few changes. Like I said before, changing you from doing grunt work to being more of a decision maker and imposing the value of what you bring to the business. AI with a human touch yield for the best results. And we truly feel like that. And we know our customers feel like that as well.
You got it, Daniel. Yes, and I know that you're very enthusiastic about this tool, how it supports teams, many different teams. In the Q&A, we have a really great question, and we'd love to answer this question right away. When using Copilot for DevOps, what happens to the data we enter? Where is it stored, and how is it used further down? Daniel, I'd love for you to take this one.
Great question. And that's always a big concern. Is my data kept secure? The answer is yes. With the complementary language models that we make out of the box, we extend those same assurances, whether it's Azure AI or OpenAI, we extend those to our clients. So learning is turned off. Any callouts to the LM are encrypted on both sides. And any artifacts you're generating, whether they're work items, whether they're diagrams, mock-ups, or even documentation, this will all be stored within your environment. Modern requirements in Copilot for DevOps does not store any client data. Now, that's how the tool works ultimately in the base set. Now, everyone always asks, hey, what if my organization has my own LLM? Well, we have some good news for you. You can point your own LLM service directly into Copilot for DevOps. And that 80 to 90% I mentioned previously, well, Aisha, from the clients we see using their own LLMs, that gets you even closer to that quality criteria of 95 percentile. And the beauty about this data, your data will be kept secure and it'll continue to learn, right? Because you can ultimately have learning turned off with your company's own private LLM service.
Exactly, you got it, Daniel. Now, the beauty of this tool is the flexibility. So here we've selected a couple features. And on the right-hand side here, you're going to notice this magic wand, which is our AI edit tool. So before you even pull any of your work items into your project, you can first go ahead and edit them. You can use AI suggestions, or you can also make some manual elements, manual edits. So what we can do here is we could ask the system to lengthen this description. Maybe you're working with a stakeholder who prefers to have a lot of context. They need a lot of information, and the system is able to enhance and elaborate that description for you. So you have all these key features, benefits, even an example scenario included here. You can also ask the system to do things like change the reading level, depending on the stakeholder that you're working with. They might be a highly technical stakeholder or not. So you can kind of choose your desired level here. And then the chat with work item function allows you to have a conversation with your work item. This is a game changer for a lot of teams. For instance, I could say to the system, give a high level overview of this feature in 30 words or less. Okay, go ahead and send that through. As you know, stakeholder alignment is essential. So you get to have that alignment early on by making sure you provide your stakeholders with what they need. So you can simply copy this, utilize that in your meetings, and you can continue to have a conversation with your system here. There's also versioning as well. So you can see what changes have taken place in the work item, compare with the original, and you can even restore the original if you'd like. And then if you like what you see, you can go ahead, save your changes, and bring these work items into your system. Back to traceability, that's essential. BAs, PMs, POs, you know how important this is. So we're going to create a link between these features and the selected epic. And now you have full traceability. These two work items live inside of Azure DevOps, and you can begin work on them. We can also start to drill down into our user stories, PBIs, functional requirements, etc. Let's go ahead and select the user story. Here you can see there are different output fields that we could select. Now, these fields are based off of your project. Whatever fields you have included in your process template in Azure DevOps can be selected here as well. And then, of course, you have custom instructions. So you can, I just saw a note in the chat about test scripts. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We can include test scripts as well. So you can change your conversation style, your response language as well. And then you can add custom instructions for your titles as well as your details. What this means is you can give the system additional context to work with. Maybe for this particular customer onboarding experience, you want to ensure that you're adhering to a specific ISO. Let's use ISO 9001, for instance, right? We've given you the ability to ensure compliance early on in your process, so it eliminates that rework later on. So we're going to ask the system to reference ISO 9001 when creating stories. And also, for some of you, you might have specific formats that you use for your user stories or for your test cases, etc. You can certainly utilize a template, and you can reuse that template across your projects using something that we call the text block. The text block enables you to save instructions that you can then share with your team, so you have greater consistency, as well as save across your projects. So for instance, we have an instruction to generate acceptance criteria in Gherkin language, given when then. We'll simply insert the text block. And now the system is going to use all of this information to create the stories. And before we even generate, we could rewrite the prompt. And what this does is it enhances the prompt for clarity, for accuracy. Daniel, I see you nodding. What are your thoughts on this one?
This is my favorite. I mean, listen, I'm not a prompt engineer, right? So anytime you could use AI to flush out what you're looking for, AI knows AI best, right, guys? I mean, why not leverage it when developing what you're looking for in that way? That's my favorite part. The other thing to call out is these text blocks, the ability to share them across your teams. Oftentimes I hear, hey, I speak to some managers of BAs and they say, I got some really great BAs, they're senior folks, they've been around, but we have some newer folks that have just come on that are a little bit more quote unquote junior, right? How do we elevate everyone's game up to a common standardization? The text blocks feature does exactly that. I had one individual tell me, Daniel, I can't even tell who wrote what anymore because it all looks beautiful and the standardization that we're looking for, right? So that's the power of text blocks. Sharing these across the team is a super valuable way to get the most out of the tool. And I know from our experience with folks, Aisha, it's definitely a game changer in terms of that additional context or prompting.
You've got it. You've got it. So now let's take a look and see what the system produces for us. Again, even your given input can be based off of specific fields that you have in your system. Just give me one quick moment. I'm going to do a refresh. Of course, this would happen in a live demo. Don't worry, everybody.
The thing that's really interesting about this, Aisha, is the fact that, the different input fields and output fields that are available, right? Oftentimes now, as we know, Azure DevOps is a highly configurable tool, right? You can have different types of fields, different drop-down fields, rich text fields. How do you pull that data out when these tools are living outside of the system? Very cumbersome, right? It's a manual process. I'm looking at one screen over here, and then I'm looking at another screen over here, and I'm trying to ensure that we get the data over accordingly, right? So ultimately, the way we've built this tool to be natively integrated into Azure DevOps, tying directly into the data, gives you those quick, efficient, and accurate results within a few seconds, as we just saw here.
You got it. Title, description, acceptance criteria in Gherkin format, because that's what we requested.
Oh, Aisha, how many times have people said acceptance criteria is the bane of my existence? That having something like this that can get you started right away is a great way to expedite that time. And listen, give time back to folks like yourself so you can enjoy yourselves.
That's right. That's right. And just by the way, in the chat, we have dropped a couple links for you. Please take a look if you're interested in learning more about this tool, if you're interested in seeing how this could benefit you and your team, speed up your processes. Please feel free to check out those links in the chat.
Guys, we support learning in many different ways, right? Some people, hey, I need to see a demo. I need to see this, based on my specific use case, how this can relate to me. Happy to support that. There's a 14-day trial as well, right? Jump in right away, start to play around and understand the value. Or, hey, if it's, I need to see some more videos, I need to maybe digest it a little bit more, we have some great stuff on our website and AI Academy, which we'll talk about in a few moments as well. Over back to you, Aisha.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you can see here we have quite a few different items that have been added. And I do see another question in our Q&A here about what is pseudocode. So pseudocode enables you to essentially have a conversation more easily with the QA team, with the dev team. It's providing information in structured steps. So the format is more easily understood and transformed into those test steps or into those development tasks as well. So what this does is it enables you to collaborate more effectively with different members of the team who might need to actually get to work on these stories. And then of course you have your test script here as well, being able to quickly generate that automated test script. And just by the way, we do have another option where you can create your test script and your code in many different languages as well, the generate function. But let's go ahead and we'll create these stories. We'll add these stories in as children of the feature so that they're linked. And they are now part of the system. They've been added into our project. You see here, this story has been included in Azure DevOps with a tag, Copilot4DevOps. And the importance of this is that you want to make sure you're reviewing all AI output. Back to that concept again, this is a Copilot4DevOps. You are in the driver's seat, which means that you get to come in and double check, make sure you have human eyes on every single AI generated work item. And we make it easy for you to do that by tagging the work item so that you can run a query against all of your AI generated work items. And after that, you can always add another tag that says something like human touch so that you know that you've had eyes on it. Really important.
This is one of my favorite aspects of the tool, right? Because think about the experience today, right? Kind of what I mentioned earlier. The AI tool abilities are really siloed workflows, right? They live completely outside of the system in which you're managing the requirements. Now, the process of, hey, go to my AI tool, come back to Azure DevOps, create that linkage, make sure it's all trackable, traceable. This is done with one click, guys, right? One click of button, everything is tracked, trace, and time-stamped, user-stamped as well in the work item as well, guys. This is how we're changing the game, right? Creating that seamless integration between where the requirements live and the AI tool.
You got it. You got it. Again, we've talked a lot about traceability because we know very well how important this is for many members of the team. Ensuring that you have testing done proper testing on your work items, one thing we hear is that it can take hours to create just one test case, because you want to make sure you're including those edge cases, make sure you're including negative and positive test scenarios. So we make it easy for you. We can simply drill down into our user story, and we're going to go ahead and create an integration test case, which is going to use the given input of our selected story and the linked feature as well. So you get a full view of possible test scenarios. And again, you can utilize your custom instructions. If you have specific formats that you use for creating your tests, include that here. And let's go ahead and generate to see the results. So again, the goal is to not only speed up the process, but to ensure greater quality and accuracy, and to give you more time so you can work on the refinement, so that you can work on the stakeholder engagement piece. So now the system is generating a list of possible test cases, and these are ideas, right? They're ideas until you decide you're going to pull them into the system. You can also click see more, and the system will continue to generate more options for you. So here are a couple tests, okay? Curious, if you can put in the chat, what are your thoughts on these test cases? What are your thoughts on what the system was able to produce?
And I even see you, can you advise it when to use given, when, then format? So Gherkin format, yes, you can. I believe we've done that example previously, Aisha, where we've done either the expected results or steps or actions in Gherkin format.
You got it, yes. It's as simple as adding an instruction. Please create my test cases in Gherkin format, and it will be able to do that for you. You can simply create your linked work items, pull these into the system. The tested by link type is the default. Create, and now you have a full hierarchy of work items. You have your epic drilled all the way down into your tests. And these can, of course, be opened up directly in Azure DevOps. You can pull this into your test plan and get started right away. Okay. This is excellent. I do see a question here, and Daniel, I'd love for you to take this one. Is there an option to upload additionally hundreds of files so that requirements created take into account the existing solution context?
Yes. So there's a few ways, guys. We showed the first one where you can upload an attachment. I think it does up to 7 or 10 files, limited, right? But to this question, what if you had tons of documentation, tons of historical data you want to reference? There's 2 additional options above this. Number 1, there's an additional add-on to our tool called Bring Your Own Data. This is a 100 gigabyte storage that is available through Copilot4DevOps, where you can store your Excel files, your actual work items, queries, Word, PDFs, all in a repository for Copilot to safely reference, in addition to the work item you're referencing as well when developing your output. Now, folks always ask, what's the next level above this? And that would be, guys, having your own LLM. Having your own LLM would not only take into consideration all this great documentation, right, and all this great historical data that you have, but it's also going to have the option to potentially learn upon what you're doing as well. So as time goes on, those results you're going to be generating will be even more refined, and those results will be even better. Great question. I see another one in the chat, actually. How would this interface with Jira storyboards? Well, great question. And how this works is because Azure DevOps is such a highly configurable tool. The reason we're built on top of it is for that exact reason. So a lot of our clients will sometimes have those integrations between those other tools, ServiceNow, a ticketing, some sort of ticketing system, or maybe a Jira or anything else. This is possible. And we typically leverage a third-party integration partner for this, but listen, we have tons of clients that use multiple tools to help get the job done. And as long as that information can be pulled from one system, it can be moved to the other.
Got it. I see that there are a lot of options available for managing all of your requirements and for working with different formats. And in addition to being able to create those requirements using Copilot4DevOps, you can also analyze their quality and refine your requirements too. Back on our homepage, we have another tool called Analyze. And this allows you to evaluate your requirements according to quite a few different methods, the 6C method, invest method, etc. Here we're going to use the 6C method. And the 6C method will show us how clear that work item is, how concise it is, how complete, etc. It provides a rating against each one of the quality criteria, and it provides rationale for the ratings, as well as some suggested improvements that you can use to enhance the overall quality of your work item. You see an overall quality score here, 78%. That's not bad. However, as we've seen, a lot of teams are striving for higher and higher quality. Some teams have a threshold of 80% or even 85% and above. And in order to get there, all you need to do is incorporate these recommendations. The value of the analyze function is that it prevents rework. For instance, how often do you find that requirements are being sent back from the QA team, or they're being sent back from the dev team because they're not clear enough, or perhaps they're not complete enough, they don't have enough information, or they can't fully understand what's being asked of them? So the analyze function prevents the rework, prevents confusion. Also, by the way, we mentioned we want to help make work fun too. So being able to slowly but surely improve your own quality score over time, it can become a fun exercise. And even internally on our team, we've had a use case where one of our BAs utilized Analyze, and consistently he had very low scores for concise. He was getting 4s or 5s for concise. He started using the tool. Eventually he was getting 8s and 9s for how concise he was. And so there's that sense of accomplishment that, wow, okay, the way that I'm writing requirements is improving as well.
Aisha, that's a great example of some of how our clients are using this, right? Personally, hey, I just want to get a quick understanding of how well did I write this requirement, right? How well did Copilot help me do this, and where can I, make those refinements? On the flip side, for some of the more senior folks or senior managers, hey, I want to understand where my team is at, right? This can give me a quick snapshot and a quick analysis into how well our team are writing requirements and where we can potentially improve over time. Our brains are kind of like LLMs, right? They get trained, they learn, and they improve. And I think to what you mentioned earlier, some of our clients, they've used this so much that they already know they need to be more concise, right? More complete, more concrete when they're writing their requirements. And this is on the point of what I mentioned earlier, elevating everyone's game.
That's the goal. That's the goal, elevating the game. And by the way, because there are different methods of analysis, some teams are combining analysis methods so that they can really enhance how the requirements are written. For instance, you might want to use the invest model. And by the way, we make it very easy for you to change the requirements that you're working with. We can take another work item, for instance. We'll take this user story, and we're going to analyze it according to the invest model. So the system is going to flag for us certain areas where it may not necessarily be invest ready yet. Okay. You see here with this particular story, the independent score, it's fair, but our estimable score is quite low. It gives you that understanding of the fact that we need to add some story points, some acceptance criteria, define this information, and then you have your overall feasibility score of 65%. So there's a lot of room for improvement here. And knowing this information up front prevents you from having to go back and make those changes later on. So this is really a game changer for our teams. You can simply copy and paste your analysis into a different application or into the work item itself, see how your scores are changing over time. And then you can continue to build upon those refinements using all of the different tools in our toolkit here. And there are quite a few. So again, feel free to check out the chat. We have dropped a couple links in there that you can take a look and learn more about our tool. Feel free to have a demonstration. We can tailor some of the information more to your use cases.
Guys, our
So,
sales team and professional services team is happy to support you guys on this journey and understanding how can you get the most value out of this, right? Copilot for DevOps, it can help a wide variety of roles and responsibilities. And let's face it, a lot of you guys are, like I said before, doing 2 different jobs in one role. Well, how do you accomplish that? How do you get the work done? Copilot for DevOps can definitely assist with that.
you got it. You got it. Wonderful. Now we have 2 more functions that we're going to dive into. Of course, we could talk all day about all of the functions in our toolkit here, but we definitely want to dive into the chat function, because the chat function, you can think of this as having your own personal assistant directly within your project. You can ask the system questions. So for instance, we could ask the system to generate a risk analysis for us. We could ask it to help prioritize work items for the backlog. We could ask it to identify duplicate work items. As an example, there are quite a few different ways that we can use the tool here. So for instance, in this particular example, we uploaded a document. We asked the system to generate a risk assessment based off of this document. And then we said to the system, can you please create some work items based off of this risk assessment? So here we go. We have these different items. The system has produced them in the system, and you can actually use the AI edit tool from directly within the chat. So you can have a conversation with the individual work item. So we've made it very easy for you to essentially work through your project. We ask the system to create some tasks for us and then to tag those tasks with risk mitigation so that we're able to follow up on the actions required to mitigate the risks. And then we even created a query directly from the chat. And some of you may know that creating queries, it can be time consuming because you have to know the right operators and it's a lot of information, right? So here you go. We've made it easy for you to quickly create your queries directly using the chat. So let's bring another use case, and feel free, if you have a specific use case, feel free to drop it in the chat, because we'd love to keep this, of course, interactive as much as possible. So let's just say we have some notes, maybe some unstructured notes, a transcript from a stakeholder meeting, different types of files. We can go ahead and upload those to use as context. So I'll go ahead and I will bring in this. In fact, I'll bring in all 3 of these items here. This is for an e-commerce system. So we have different types of documents that we want the system to analyze. And I could say, please tell me the main user stories that could be created for this project. We could always use the rewrite prompt function to enhance the prompt. You can also include your text blocks. If you have a text block which includes a template or a structure, for instance, we can include that. And just by the way, I'm seeing in the chat, there are some requests for diagramming. We got you covered.
Awesome. You know, the funny when I saw Aisha, I could not help but giggle. I tried to contain myself, but someone said 2 roles. You mean 5 roles: business analyst, project manager, data analyst, tester, trainer. I even see solutions architect. Guys, this tool can be used by a wide variety of roles to help ultimately eliminate the grunt work.
You got it. You got it. This is wonderful. Now, you see here, the system has analyzed these documents and it suggested some potential stories. Again, you're in the driver's seat. You get to choose which of these items am I actually going to create. It could be all of them, it could be none of them. I'm going to tell the system, please create the user registration stories and ensure that acceptance criteria is included with Gherkin format. So we'll go ahead and we'll add that to the system. And yes, to these questions that I'm seeing in the chat about flows, data flows, yes, absolutely. These are things that the system is able to create for us. So here we go. The system has presented us with some potential Gherkin scenarios, different types of scenarios that we could use for that particular story. Again, you could choose which of these scenarios work best. And so I'll ask the system to create the story with all of these scenarios included in the acceptance criteria field. Think of this again as your personal assistant directly in your project. Any questions you have for it, you can ask. If you want to give it additional context, you can do that. So think about if you could ask an AI assistant anything about your backlog right now, what would it be? What would it be? Feel free to pop that in the chat.
Aisha, I remember on a previous webinar, I think we asked it to give us a joke based on our backlog or something like that. And it actually came up with a pretty funny joke. So I thought that was cool. And you know what? A lot of people are at different points in their AI journey. But one thing I definitely have discovered over the past couple of years is that a lot of people's first interaction with AI is very conversational. ChatGPT, Copilot365, right? That's why this Copilot chat function blows the socks off a lot of our folks we work with. And the reason being is the ability to orchestrate at a higher level, right? Think about your workflows, guys. Well, I develop requirements or I elicit them and then I analyze them and then I apply certain criteria or a ISO standard or compliance standard against it. And then I need to generate it with and create it with traceability, linking it to my previous story. That could be done in one swoop or one brush, right? And then you can even go further, right? In the chat functionality, you can create diagrams or process flows based on that conversation as well. The possibilities are really endless, guys. And a lot of the questions I see coming up in the chat, and I know we want to make sure we get to the diagramming feature, but all of this can be possible. Parsing through data, doing gap analysis, user story refinement, this is all possible within the tool. We won't have time to get to everyone's asked today about specific questions, but guys, like we said before, if you're curious to learn more, book a personalized demo today with our team. I just dropped in the chat the link. Our sales and professional services team will be happy to take you on your journey and help understanding how this can potentially help you in your day today.
You got it. Yes, we definitely want to support everyone in their process of adopting this tool or even learning more about the tool. So here we are, we're asking the system to create a flow diagram for that story. And just like that, this is what the system produced. I'd love to see some hearts if you think this looks good. Would love to see your thoughts on this. I see, okay, got some hearts coming in. Amazing. Now, by the way, you can go ahead and open this diagram directly in our diagram module. And this is going to be the last function we're going to talk about before we turn it back over to Daniel to close out our session. Here you can chat with your diagram. We could say to the system, please tell me about possible gaps that should be addressed in this flow. Okay, now we can essentially spend less time on the first draft, essentially, of requirements, the first draft of these diagrams and flows, and more time on refinement, more time on increasing value for stakeholders, and ensuring that those project results are really strong. So here the system is listing out some potential gaps that might exist in our diagram. I could take this and I could say, please provide recommendations to improve usability, particularly in relation to accessibility. And we could even use our handy rewrite prompt function so that it will take what we've added into the prompt and it will enhance it. So now we'll go ahead, submit that. Here's our diagram as it is right now. Just by the way, you can save your diagram. You can actually publish it into an existing work item or a new work item. So that way you can keep track of your diagrams. And again, for traceability, it's great to be able to link these items to your features, your PBIs, your stories, your non-functional requirements, etc. And you can also save this to Word, PDF, or as an image as well. So our system.
It's funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's funny, Aisha. I was just going to mention. Oftentimes, what I hear is people are using Figma, they're using Lucid, or they're using some other external tool. And then if they're using like an Azure DevOps, well, you gotta attach it, right, as an additional file. But there's no necessarily context, right? If you wanted to use AI to go back in to analyze it, right? With this, you can publish it directly into the work item. You can create your own custom work item and call it, hey, process flow or diagram, right? Have all this information live in there. So everything is trackable and traceable as well.
You got it. And now we're going to ask the system to add an additional path to manage the suggestions that the system gave us for accessibility. And by the way, it did give quite a few different options here. So now we're asking the system to help us with adjusting the diagram. You can make your diagram using AI, and you can also edit the same diagram. And it's as simple as adding in your prompts. Of course, by the way, you can include your attachments as well. So when you're creating a diagram, you can also upload attachments, different files, and different types of ways to give context to the system. So the system has updated my diagram. And here you can see another pathway where there is more information here related to accessibility. So again, you can go ahead, publish this. I'll save it as an existing work item, and I'll use the existing story here. We can choose the work item field, and you can even include an explanation of the diagram. And this is very helpful for stakeholders who may have a harder time understanding the flow. Being able to add the textual narrative can be very supportive for those team members as well. Also, by the way, the system can produce Markdown. And with that Markdown, you can use it in different applications. In fact, I do see in the chat something about Visio. So you could, for instance, use the Markdown that is created from this particular diagram and utilize it in a different application. So here's our story. This is the diagram in the work item. Here's a detailed explanation of the flowchart and the Markdown that you can simply copy and paste into another application. So we've seen how you can take those unstructured documents, meeting notes, transcripts, Excel files, etc., transform them into structured requirements with full traceability, full hierarchy covered, how you can edit all of those requirements, analyze them and refine them, as well as have a chat essentially with your project and even create your process flows and diagrams. And that all happened in a very short amount of time, everyone. So this means hours saved, it means better quality, it means fewer missed requirements, and of course, full traceability for your audits, as well as your stakeholders. So before we close, we'd love to hear, what are some of your thoughts on the demonstration? What stood out for you? What are you taking away from the session?
Thank you so much, Aisha, for taking us through that. And yes, we want to hear your feedback. We want to understand where you guys see the value. We have a poll that we're going to be sharing in a few moments here. Here we go. So which one of the Copilot for DevOps features are most interesting to you? Is it elicit? Is it the AI edit function, analyze, diagram, chat, or hey, I like everything I saw today. Can I see more? It looks like elicit is off to a hot start here. We'll give it a couple moments for everyone to leave their responses. Oh yeah, elicit is usually the most popular one. Just that instant value, right? Creating and eliciting work items is probably the most challenging aspect of what you guys do. How do we refine that, right? How do we speed up that process? Elicit is definitely going to be the tool for you. Oh, correction. All of the above is the leader. I didn't have the window open up big enough. So all of the above, guys. Love to see that. And we're going to be sharing the results on the screen here shortly as well. Thank you so much for participating in this, guys. And ultimately, guys, if you like what you saw today, this is just a small subset of some of the capabilities that we are offering through Copilot for DevOps. Now is your chance. We're offering a 1-hour personalized demonstration and consultation with you and your team for free. You can feel free to scan the barcodes or visit our websites, book a demo, start a free trial, start your AI journey with us. We'll be happy to take you along the way and understand the value that AI can bring to your workflows. Now, before we wrap things up, we have something very special for you guys. And I know this is very near and dear to Aisha's heart. So Aisha, I'd love to pass it over to you to talk a little bit about AI for DevOps Academy.
Absolutely, Daniel. AI for DevOps Academy will provide you with bite-sized courses. They're role-tailored. They are extremely informative, very quick to complete, and you can get a certification at the end of each course. This is important because you get to show that you have adopted AI into your practices. And by the way, you can also share your certificate on LinkedIn as well. So please feel free, click on the link within the chat, join AI for DevOps Academy, and see how you can start to really bring AI into your different functions to enhance your efficiency, quality, and accuracy.
Guys, I've personally done AI for DevOps Academy and I'm blown away. It's very interactive, very engaging, and keeps you interested, right? Keeps those how do we call that, the cliffhangers, right? It keeps you engaged, right? Keeps you ultimately learning. And listen, guys, this is valued at $3,000 per organization, so take advantage of it while it's accessible and free today. So we have a couple minutes left, and with the last couple minutes, we would love to dive into some questions. So I'm going to pop open the chat here and take a quick peek at what questions are here. Okay. So I did see one previously about, oh, this is a good one. Does this tool work with the cloud version of Azure DevOps? So the answer is yes, right? Copilot for DevOps is supported both on-prem and in the cloud. And then the second part is very interesting. Please note, Microsoft is replacing Azure DevOps with GitHub. This is something that Microsoft told us in their roadmap. Now, listen, guys, GitHub is not the full replacement for Azure DevOps, point blank period. And the reason I say that is, as of today, the capabilities are simply not there. The amount of historical data and the functions and capabilities in Azure DevOps and the DevOps workflows, they're not going to be going away anytime soon. However, we feel this is a better together story today. And what that means is both GitHub and Azure DevOps working simultaneously together will yield for the best collaboration and the best results. The reason I say that is, listen, we can do things that, GitHub Copilot can't do, and vice versa. But listen, our tool is definitely tailored towards folks like yourselves and help driving value and results. See a few other questions. And guys, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll be happy to address them as we move forward. How much will be for a personalized class? I'm an independent consultant. So guys, listen, we work with partners, consultants, all different types of folks. So don't hesitate, jump right in. Feel free to dive in and ultimately learn how we can potentially help. I see another question. How long are the discounts good for? My management is out of office. Well, reach out to us directly, right? We're happy to work with you guys on that specifically. And listen, if the team is interested, we can get started in understanding right away with just your personalized workflows and incorporate, the other teams as they come back from vacation. Okay, I see another couple. Could you please include the link to the free AI courses in the chat? Yes, we can do that. I'll make sure to have our team drop that in the chat if I think it was not already. How can I position this into an AI transformational program? Interesting question. So, we work with a ton of organizations, in highly compliant, highly regulatory industries. And one thing I'll say is, listen, when AI first came out, it was that big scary thing and everyone was scared to jump in. We're happy to be a part of that conversation and that roadmap with your team, right? Aisha, I can think of many different clients that we have worked with personally together, you and I, and we were a part of that journey, right? Working boots on the ground with their AI head or their implementation AI partners, right? We're part of that story and we can help develop. And listen, our organization would not be what it is today without the feedback of folks like yourself. So we're constantly evolving this tool. And Aisha, I can definitely confidently say a lot of the improvements and capabilities we've added have been as a result of client feedback as well. So keep it coming, guys. And yeah, we'll be happy to incorporate your thoughts, your energy into the tool. I like this point from one of the individuals. AI is only as good as the data inputs / learned. We can dump in legacy documentation, story specs, and ask how a new feature could or will impact this. This would be amazing for new consultants to a new environment. So yes, there is something, and it's called impact assessment. Impact assessment is probably one of my favorite personal tools, right? Change happens all the time, right? As a change request comes in, how does that impact my, task that has 4 to 5 stories, work items, epics, features linked to it? Impact assessment can instantly analyze through all those linkages and levels to understand how the change would impact and what potential tasks that should be assigned based on that as well. And guys, in the chat, book a demo, start a free trial, or even AI Academy. I see the link is there as well. Jump in, facilitate your learning, and understand how we can help. But listen, we're here to help you guys as well, right? I would definitely highly suggest book a demo with our team to understand how we can potentially help. Because listen, everyone's use case is a little bit different. Everyone does different roles, different responsibilities, but we're here to support everyone.
You got it. I think the goal of our team is to ensure that people feel supported as they adopt this tool throughout the organization. In today's session, you saw some use cases that were really tailored to the members of this particular webinar, but we have many different functions that can support other members of the team, whether you're QA engineers, your developers, DevSecOps engineers, release engineers, etc. There's something for everyone. So yeah, definitely keep in touch with us and click on some of those links within the chat.
I see a couple folks saying, hey, I can't wait to show this to my manager. Listen, guys, we can do the heavy lifting. We could be the folks to help take you guys on that journey. So listen, don't be afraid to reach out. Let us know. We're happy to support you in these conversations and make you look like the all-star. That's what we love to do, is to jump into these calls and tell your managers or your leaders about how you found us and how you went out of your way to support your team, and ultimately, the goals of the organization as well.
Daniel, I see something really great in the chat. I'm sorry, I heard someone sharing something. I don't want to interrupt you.
No. It's all you, Aisha.
Okay. Excellent. I saw something in the chat there. Can it integrate with low or no code? And I think this is really exciting because actually we do have an integration now into our sister company, Codeless One. So you can take the work items that you've created using Copilot4DevOps and create that functional prototype or even a fully functional application and put it into production using our tool Codeless One. So we can definitely drop some information in the chat as well about Codeless One that you can take a look at. See, Daniel's one step ahead of me.
And no, guys, I think, listen, we want to support your goals. And I saw someone in the chat say, yes, please do the heavy lifting for us. We're happy to do that. Book some time with us today, guys. Understand the deep in and outs of Copilot4DevOps and how we support our clients today. We'll be happy to take you on this journey. You could even reach out to me directly, send me an email or even add me on LinkedIn. I know a few folks added me on LinkedIn throughout the call today. We're happy to take you on this journey and support you guys. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure connecting with all of you. And we have a couple more minutes, so we'll answer maybe one or two more questions to finish it off. Let's see if there's any other in the chat. And guys, thank you for dropping questions throughout the time as well. I know we got to answer some of them throughout, so that was really helpful. Sun, sand, and ocean calling my name. I'll reach out for a custom demo. Yes, please do that. I was wondering about the life cycle, eliciting through code. Interesting. So I think, and one thing we didn't get to show today, but is definitely possible, is our pseudocode and test script capabilities in Copilot4DevOps. So that's definitely something that you could leverage as well to help. We're going to be wrapping up in about 1 or 2 more minutes here, just under 2 minutes, guys. So if you have any last minute questions, feel free to drop it in. Well, guys, listen, I want to personally thank each and all of you today on allowing us to be a part of your AI journey, right? We understand that, listen, it's not a simple task to just say, hey, I'm ready to use AI, right? You need to understand where the value is. And I hope today that you guys ultimately got to understand how, number one, AI can help in your day-to-day, but how Copilot4DevOps can specifically help you elevate your requirements, supercharge the way you work, and ultimately give you guys time back. If you're really interested and excited about what you saw today, please book a demo, start a free trial, reach out to me directly. We'll be happy to take you on this journey.
Okay, awesome. And with that, I want to thank Aisha and Daniel for joining us today. On behalf of Project Times and BA Times, we'd also like to thank everyone for joining us. And a reminder to look out for the email letting you know when the on-demand version of the webinar will be posted. I'll also want to let everyone know about our upcoming virtual conference in December 2 and 5. Participating in today's webinar, you'll receive an additional 15% off using the code MODERN15. You can view the program on our conference website at pmbaconferences.com, where you'll be able to find listings for all our upcoming in-person events as well. And with that, I want to provide one final round of applause for both Daniel and Aisha for a wonderful webinar this afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Looking
Thank you,
forward to
everyone.
connecting with you guys. And like I said, on this AI journey.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.